young Juve. Get it right. Yeah.
Prosecutors are given great power, endless resources to perform their mission of pursuing justice.
Man, this dude YNW Melly is the children of the corn. I mean the children of the corn, reincarnated, looking like a devil. He don't care. His homeboy's dead.
Not with Juvie, not with Chris, but you heard things about him and Anthony getting into like altercations about disputes about money over certain situations, and they got in a fight prior to that, and they said like, the story that they say Sack beat him up and knocked his goals out in front of his girlfriend, and like 2 days later, I think that's when the incident happened.
In multiple social media posts about this drive-through, this shooting. And Mr. Demmons responds very succinctly, I did that.
Broken glass everywhere. If it ain't about no money, puff, I just don't care.
What's good? This your boy Hog here with the Haters Real podcast. Now let's get into this shit right here.
I had to make it a little juicy for him.
Come on here with the Haters Hit That Like podcast. Now let's get into this shit right here. So YNW Melly, he making himself look real bad because he told the whole world, I got murder on my mind.
I wake up in the morning, I got murder on my mind.
This guy, that guy is just, I have no words for that guy.
What was it in particular that was said on that FaceTime that made you think that Melly was responsible?
Nothing was said, actually, like the demeanor. It was like the body language, really. Like I was just reading them, and as I'm telling them and asking them questions, I got so emotional, I started crying. They wasn't reacting to, they act like they didn't have to take a loss at all. That's how I took it. And then when I was talking to them, I still had in the back of my mind that something's not right. Something's not right.
Did they tell you anything about what they claimed happened with the drive-by?
Of 2018, this defendant shot and killed two of his friends. He killed Christopher Thomas and Anthony Williams. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to set out the story and how this unfolded and lay out what I expect the evidence will show during the course of this trial. First thing you're going to hear is that at 4:35 a.m. on October 26th of 2018, Cortland Henry, the co-defendant, shows up at Memorial Miramar Hospital. In his car, he has two dead bodies. In the front passenger seat is Anthony Williams. In the rear passenger seat is Christopher Thomas. They are dead, they are riddled with bullets, and the car is full of blood. Christopher Thomas is sitting in the rear. There is multiple defects to his body. Anthony Williams, who is sitting in the front, has two major injuries. Officer Jessica Amangor is working a detail at the hospital. Cortland Henry runs in, starts telling a story about a drive-by. Quote unquote, drive-by.
All right, Nina.
Then on top of that, the prosecution they have evidence that YNW Melly was sprinting down the street from the crime scene. They have evidence. Then on top of that, they saying that the other two guys, YNW Sack Chaser and YNW Juvie, they was already dead 40 minutes after YNW Melly and Cortland, after they set up the scene to make it look like it was a drive-by. When you look at the back window that was shot out, you could tell that, somebody was close and shot it out the back window. They was too close to that back window. You know what I mean? If it was a drive-by, the thing of it is, it wouldn't have been a close-up shot like that. It was too close. Then the way that they put in the evidence out, you could tell that somebody was in the back seat with them. They seen Sprite cans. So, you know what I mean? DNA. Then they got YNW Cortland. They got him, because he was the driver, they got him going back to the house, changing clothes. They still got him with gun residue. So when he talked to the detective and the investigator, they already knew that he was bullshitting. Why you got clean clothes on? So you trying to play us. You trying to play us like we dumb. You trying to play us like we a fool, like we don't know nothing. YNW Melly and YNW Cortland, whatever the hell his name is, the driver, they did not have a good plan. This was sloppy as hell. You feel me? This was planned. This was plotted. And the prosecuting attorney, she not going for that bullshit.
What they will bring you is a case that is riddled with reasonable doubt, that is founded on an incompetent and incomplete investigation, and the exercise of poor judgment at every turn. The state cannot prove beyond a reasonable doubt the allegations that they have made. And there is a reason for that. You recall Ms. Bradley, some of you may recall, during jury selection, going to great lengths to let you know that she does not have to prove motive. And she's right about that. The law doesn't require her to prove motive. But you know what does require motive? A young man to wake up one day and decide that he's going to kill two of his best friends. Best friends that he grew up with, best friends that he hangs out with, best friends who he lives with, best friends whose careers he was trying to launch alongside his own. They have no reason for why he would do this, because there is no reason. And if there's no reason, it doesn't make sense. And if after 4 years of investigation, the state comes and says, hey, he killed two of his friends, his best friends, and you're wondering why, and their answer is, oh, I don't know. That's the first indication that they're just guessing and don't know what they're talking. And that, ladies and gentlemen, by itself is reasonable doubt. Why he would commit such a heinous crime against his own two best friends for no reason.
I think Melly didn't want to give them guys nothing. He wanted to be the only one to shine. And then they came to town next day and gave the mothers $15,000, the other mother $10,000. So I thought to myself, if Sack was going to get $200,000, Chris was getting $100,000. If we could pay these people $25,000 and keep $275,000, that's how I saw it. It just nothing added up. Melly still to this day for me to hear him call them boys his best friend is an insult. That is an insult.
Was there any sign of bad blood before your son's life was taken and before Anthony was killed? Or was there any tension there that you knew of?
Not with Juvie, not with Chris, but you heard things about him and Anthony getting into like altercations about disputes about money over certain situations, and they got in a fight prior to that, and they said, like, the story that they say Sack beat him up and knocked his goals out in front of his girlfriend, and like 2 days later, I think that's when the incident happened.
Listen, that boy 100K, the manager is always wrapped in some bullshit. So go ahead and let's speculate on what 100K went to Melly. He had to go to Melly to let him know that them boys was getting some money. And he let the other two know that they was getting money because they had started YNW. And so YNW Melly felt some type of way because they came to town and they passed mothers money. That's 100. They looking out for the mothers. The mothers get some money in their pocket. That's what's up. No matter whether they get 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, but the mamas got paid. They got some money. YNW Melly, he didn't like that. He didn't want them passing around no money. He wanted all that money for himself. Just like it say in the Bible, You know what I mean? You can gain the world and lose your soul. So he wanted all. Brand new socks and drawers. He wanted it all. He didn't want them boys to have nothing. So he wanted to cut them boys out. And the only way to cut them boys out was to kill them. Take their life. Get them out the picture. He the only one. He's the number one spot from YNW. That's it. He wanted to conquer and control the whole situation. Like, subscribe, comment, hit that like button. Hey, this your boy Hog here with the Hate Is Real podcast. Now let's get into this shit right here. Yeah.